When it comes to finding problems on your computer, there are a few different places that we can go and look. So let's go ahead and start with the simplest place, and that would be the event viewer. All right, let me just bring this up to size for you guys. Whoop, there we go. All right, so here we have the event viewer, and this covers kind of like a whole wide range of things. So it goes from very simple errors, and let's go ahead and open up the applications and Office. So here's an error. From Microsoft Excel. You want to save changes to book 1. It's a very simple error. It's not really an error, it's more of a question that it's asking you. However, the fact that it logs it is kind of amazing to me. Those types of things. Also, you kind of get the ones, do you want to, you can't open the same thing at once, or problems that, do you want to debug this? Those types of things. So it's a very simple, overall, very open or low level type of thing. So things that are, just those pop-up windows that you're going to get. But we also can get into kind of the bigger ones. If we go up here to, let's go with the system Windows logs. So here we see we're actually having errors, and this was today at 1:45, which was 2 minutes ago. So basically saying that the DSLR camera that uses my webcam cannot be found. And that probably is because the webcam hadn't completely turned on and connected and all those other fun things yet. But there's still all that information that is being given to us. And these are informations, we have all these warnings like this BTH USB. And this is overall saying that the Bluetooth adapter that I have on my desktop, which is my desktop's from 2018, but the Bluetooth adapter I'm using is from 2007. And it's basically saying that the encryption keys can't be loaded onto the key or onto that Bluetooth dongle, so they might not always, like your Bluetooth keyboards and mice and things like that that require more encryption, might not be able to actually operate on my computer. And this kind of goes in context, or links with the one right below it, which is just the warning. So you can see we have, there's information. You can see right here we have a warning set, we also have the information. So 2 different types of tags, and I'm sure there are more different levels there. I don't have any more on my computer to give you guys a quick example of. But anyway, these 2 both happen at basically the exact same moment in time, but they give us a lot more information. And this is also giving you more information for things that you can search for on the internet when you're coming across problems. You're like, why isn't this working? Well, you can come in here, we can look it up, and we can try to figure out what exactly the problem is. Now, along with that, we also can look up the system information. All right, and again, let me quick resize this for our window that I'm sharing. There we go. So on the left-hand side, we have the different size trees and, the different menu. So we have 3 buttons there. You can see we have hardware, resource, components, and software. If we go into hardware first, there is a conflicts and sharing option. So this will give you, again, a lot of resources that are trying to be used by multiple different devices. And in this case, I have my PCIe controller and my graphics card are having some issues. This one always cracks me up, my motherboard resources and the system clock, which is on the motherboard. So you think that wouldn't be a problem. You think they would have, figured out with that when they were making the motherboard, but something there. Same here. Express root complex, motherboard related stuff. The audio controller also might be dealing with the graphics card, because the graphics card does have some sort of audio on board if it's sending out HDMI, which mine does. So it's kind of interesting to come and look through these things. All right. However, what might be more interesting to you is under components and problem devices, which again, I actually have 2. So I have my Cisco AnyConnect device. Now, if you actually read through this, it says virtual. So this isn't a real device. This is a virtual one, which is having some problems. And if you look at the error code, that device is disabled, probably because I'm not using the VPN right now. The next one is my USB 3.0 monitor. So my main monitor has a USB hub on it, and I believe it actually has the capability of video over that USB port. So you don't actually have to have anything more than just one USB cable. And this is saying that I don't have the drivers installed for that. And it's giving me some information here about the PID and the VID and those types of things. So nice information there. So system information, Event Viewer Log, those are great places to go. Another good place, especially if it's hardware related, is Device Manager. We can get there by right-clicking on the Start Manager and going to Device Manager. And this one is actually probably the one that I come the most, especially when you've just plugged a new device in and you're like, I don't know what's going on with it. So you can see I've got a lot going on my computer. Here's that USB 3.0 monitor. Notice it is showing up in both areas. So we've got it in system information and the device manager, which is kind of nice. So it is being duplicated. But you can come in here and look at all the different pieces of your computer. So we've got my, where's the display adapter? So I've got a GTX 1070, it's telling me in here. Look at my keyboard, which the main one I'm using is this Logitech one. My mice, again, I have a Logitech cordless mouse, which goes with the cordless keyboard here, but I also have this G600 gaming mouse for all the shortcut buttons. It's so nice to be able to play, pause your music, or copy things with just a button on your mouse instead of having to always go to the keyboard or open programs or things like that. So I really like having all of those. I guess I should show it if I have the cable link for it. All of those different, come on, monitor. There we go. Oh, there we go. You can see all of my different capabilities, or all the buttons on there. So there's actually 12 of them on there, and then there's actually, the really odd thing to me is there is another click on the end here. There's a third finger click, which actually is basically doubles my number of buttons on the mouse. So a lot of capability there for programming this mouse to make it more useful for me, to speed up certain things for me. And like one of the things I have on there is to mute and unmute myself for Zoom calls. So when I'm doing that, I don't have to actually touch the keyboard. I can be in any program I want to be. So if I'm not, right on ball the whole time with the Zoom call, I can be searching something because someone asked me a question. I can mute or unmute myself just from the mouse without having to go back into Zoom, which is really quite convenient. Device manager, this mainly deals with drivers. All right, we could actually, so if we right click on here, you notice you have update driver, disable device, uninstall the device. We can scan for hardware changes, which isn't specific to this device, but for the whole computer. If you unplugged or plugged something in, you can also come into the properties for that device. So here we can see our general. It's basically telling me that it's not installed and I'm having some issues. I could try the update driver button, which of course fails because that just kind of goes out to the internet and searches Windows Update for it. And well, if it would have found it the first time, it would already be installed. So that's not going to work. You can update drivers manually by searching for your computer if you have a copy of that. Wow, my monitor just went out of focus. There we go. We're back. So those types of things, we have all the different details, and you have a whole bunch of different properties that you could come into for this. So you can see the hardware IDs. Again, there's VIDs and the PIDs. You can come to some status, those types of stuff. And we can also see the events. So 9/30/2020 was when I installed this mouse or the monitor, I guess, originally on this install of Windows. It doesn't actually make sense. That is actually outdated. So anyway, you can come in here and get properties. Probably one of the things I come in here for the most for is actually this ports. When I'm doing older things like programming microcontrollers and things like that, I don't have one within quick reach, so I can't plug it in. But anyway, when I'm doing things, oftentimes I need to know what COM port or which serial port that device is using. And if you have a USB device, USB or Arduino or whatever, oh, here's one. And I guess I have to plug it in here. But you'll see in a second. There we go. I now have a fourth COM port. So that's why I often tend to come in here to figure out what exactly I'm using and what's missing and what's going on with certain devices when I'm having some problems. So really good place for you to come in, and you can see all the different network adapters. I don't really know why I have all of these WAN mini ports. Something installed them. Not exactly sure what. But a lot is going on there. So that's device manager. Another area you can come into, and this is more for trying to probably fix the problems, is registry editor. All right. Now this is one of those places, which I'm pretty sure we have talked about this before, where you can actually get yourself in trouble. All right. If you don't know what you're doing in registry editor, you can go down a rabbit hole real quick of absolutely destroying your computer. So you do need to use registry editor with a lot of caution. All right. Now there's probably a lot of changes you can make in there that aren't going to cause any problems, but this is something that we do need to be aware of. So be careful when you're in there. Registry editor is a the database that contains all of the configurations and settings used by components, services, applications, and pretty much everything in Windows. So everything that has some sort of setting or whatnot is probably going to be able to be edited from inside this somehow, some way. All right. There are two basic concepts that we need to be aware of. So we have registry keys, which are objects that are basically folders. So you can see all these different keys over here on the side, and as you kind of just keep diving down into them. All right. And then we have, what was the other? Registry keys, and we have values. So keys look like folders. Values are a bit like files, and they contain the actual settings. So over here on the right, we can see my country. I have set to a 1 right now. My calendar type is set to a 1. So some of these are just going to be zeros, ones, or numbers. Some of them are going to be strings. Some of them is going to be language. So local name en-us is dealing with the probably the language that I'm dealing with, saying US. Here's the long date format. Here's there's a short date format on here probably as well. Yeah, here we go, short day. So day, month, day, year, month, day, year. All right. So if I go ahead and change these, it may change the clock in my bottom right hand corner to show me exactly what order the numbers show up in. So yeah, can you configure this stuff some other way? Yes, you can. But sometimes you can't open the program to change the setting because that setting is keeping the program from opening. So that's where Registry Editor becomes a very powerful tool if you know what you're doing. So I want to stress, be very careful when you are dealing with the Registry Editor.